The bell rang before dawn. Once, twice, 3 times. Not an alarm, a gathering. The city woke as if it had never slept. Doors flew open. Footsteps echoed against stone. Women pulled children from beds. Men reached for belts and knives. The bell rang steadily, without panic, and that made it worse. Guards already stood on the wall. From the north, someone said. Again, another asked. They say they saw banners. The city was called Rain Guard, old, stone-built, stubborn. It had survived 3 wars, 2 plagues, and 1 mad king. Its walls were thick. Its memory was not. Captain Martin climbed the stairs, breathing heavily. He had served here for 20 years and knew this much. When an enemy is near, the air changes. It grows heavy. Tight. This air was empty. Where are the scouts? Martin asked. They returned last night, a young guard answered. Found nothing. Martin looked out across the plain. Morning fog lay low over the fields, hiding the road, the river, the old mill. No smoke, no movement, no sound. And the banners? Martin asked quietly. The guard hesitated. They said someone saw them, a merchant or a shepherd. Martin frowned. He knew too well how sieges begin, not with swords, with words. By noon, the gates were closed, not by command, by agreement. The council gathered quickly. The bishop, 2 merchants, the city judge, and the widow of the former governor, who owned more grain than half the city combined. We cannot risk it, the judge said. If the enemy is near, open gates mean death. And if there is no enemy? The bishop asked. Silence fell, thick as cloth. Then we wait, the widow said. That is why walls exist. And so Rain Guard closed itself off from itself. On the 2nd day, fresh bread ran out. Bakers cut rations, calling it prudence. On the 3rd, wine doubled in price. On the 4th, meat vanished entirely. They're hiding it. People whispered in the market, for themselves, for the guards, for the council. By evening, a new rumor spread. Fires have been seen in the east. Martin sent 2 scouts through a hidden passage beyond the river. They returned by morning, muddy, angry, empty-handed. Nothing, one said. No men, no tracks. You weren't looking hard enough. The other snapped. The enemy is clever. He's waiting. The word waiting moved through the city faster than fire. Children stopped playing. Dogs howled at night. People began locking doors inside the city. On the 5th day, a mark was found on the wall, a carved cross, and beneath it 3 lines. A sign, someone said. They're counting days. A signal. Martin stared at the stone and felt something crack, not in the wall, but in the people. This was done by one of our own, he said. Are you defending traitors? A merchant shot back. From that day on, Martin himself became suspect. On the 7th night, a boy disappeared, the tanner's son. He was found in the morning by the wall, alive but mute. He stared at nothing except the plain beyond the gates. He saw them. His mother cried. He knows. Martin knelt beside the boy. Did you see the enemy? Silence. Is there anyone out there? Martin asked softly. The boy slowly shook his head. And for the first time since the bells rang, Martin felt true fear. Not because the enemy was near, but because perhaps there was no enemy at all, and the siege had already begun. By the 8th day, the city no longer spoke aloud. Voices dropped to whispers. Names were avoided. Doors closed softly, as if sound itself could betray intent. The boy did not speak. He sat near the wall, wrapped in a blanket, staring beyond the gates. People brought him bread, water, prayers. He ignored all of it. What frightened them was not his silence, but his calm. He knows something. They said, he's hiding it. They threatened him. Fear, once born, does not need proof. Captain Martin ordered the boy taken to the chapel. The bishop insisted on prayer. The judge insisted on questioning. The merchants insisted on guards. Everyone insisted on control. Inside the chapel, candles burned low. Shadows stretched across stone like grasping hands. "Did anyone touch you?" the judge asked gently. The boy blinked. "Did you see the enemy?" the bishop asked. Silence. Martin knelt in front of him. "Is there anyone outside the walls?" he asked. The boy looked at him. For the first time, his eyes focused. Slowly, deliberately, he shook his head. The bishop crossed himself. The judge frowned. A merchant laughed, sharp, nervous. "Children lie," he said, "or they don't understand." That night, the first beating happened. A baker was dragged into the street, accused of hiding flour. He denied it. They searched his house and found nothing, but by then it no longer mattered. The crowd had already decided. Martin arrived too late. The baker lived, but his face would never be the same. The next morning, guards were posted at granaries, not to protect them from thieves, but from citizens. By day 10, the city was divided. Those who believed the enemy waited beyond the walls, and those who believed the enemy was already inside. The word traitor began to circulate, quietly at first, then with confidence. Marks appeared on doors, crosses, scratches, symbols no one admitted carving. Each mark meant the same thing. We are watching. Martin tore one from his own door at dawn. An hour later, 2 guards stopped following his orders. "He hesitates," they said. "He doubts. He protects the wrong people." At the council, voices rose for the first time. "We should make an example," said one merchant. "Of whom?" the bishop asked. "Of anyone," the merchant replied. "Fear needs a shape." The widow said nothing. She only listened. That night, a fire broke out near the eastern wall. No one knew how it started. Some said it was a signal. Others said it was sabotage. A man was caught running from the flames. They brought him to the square before Martin could stop them. "I didn't do it," the man screamed. "There is no enemy. There is nothing out there." Silence fell. Then someone threw a stone. Martin pushed forward. "Enough," he shouted. "You're fighting ghosts." The crowd turned toward him. For the first time, Martin understood. They were no longer afraid of the enemy. They were afraid of being wrong. The man survived the night. Barely. By morning, he confessed to everything they asked. Spying, signaling, betrayal, though none of it made sense. The confession was written down. Read aloud. Believed. On the 12th day, horns sounded from the wall. Not alarm horns. Celebration. "They're retreating," someone shouted. "The enemy is leaving." Martin ran to the battlements. The fog was thinner now. The plains lay open and bare. Still empty. No banners. No tracks. No army. Behind him, the city cheered. Martin did not. He realized in the truth that terrified him most. The city did not need an enemy anymore. It had learned how to survive without one. And that was worse.